everybody, welcome back to The Scale Nerd. I'm Tom Pierce. In this series of videos, we're going to be sculpting a 1/6 scale bust. This figure is going to be a Viet Nam character, my first Viet Nam project that I've done yet. I've done a lot of World War II, sci-fi and things like that. Never done anything on the Vietnam era. So this is going to be from Operation Junction City in 1967, and very near and dear to my heart because the subject is actually my brother, Bob Pierce, during his tour of duty. So we'll be sculpting in super sculpty firm clay, again 1/6 scale, a bust, waist up. This video only covers the sculpture of the head. Other videos will cover the sculpting of the body and the uniform, the gear, the M79 grenade launcher, and then we'll do a video on the painting of the entire figure. So I think you're going to enjoy this. I hope you do, and maybe you'll learn something, or at least just again enjoy watching me work on the sculpture. So let's not waste any more time and go ahead and get started on this first video in the series, sculpting 1/6 scale bust by sculpting the head first. Okay, so let's start out with reference photos. That's the beginning of every good project. So I pulled out as many as I could of both my brother and the gear that was typical of this era of the Vietnam War, and printed those out so I had those quick and easy reference. Tools, caliper to measure, transfer measurements from the reference photos, as well as the basic sculpture tools, just some simple basic ones. A rake tool that I made with guitar strings and a paintbrush. Works really well for smoothing out different areas of clay and blending areas in. Then some little bit more advanced tools. These are some of my favorite ones that I use the most for my detail work. And then ultimately I get down into some very fine micro loop tools to do the really tight details in around the eyes and the nose and the mouth, that type of thing. And then we have the ballpoint tools, so various size ball tips on these, and on the other end you have your soft silicone brushes that allow you to really blend things very smoothly. So the first step is taking the measurements from the prints and transferring them across to the clay. Again, we'll be using super sculpty firm clay throughout this project. So I just take some various landmark positions along the eye line, the nose, the mouth, and so forth, and transfer them over to the roughed in form of the head. And then from there we just go ahead and start the sculpting process, going down to the basic form and then gradually working down in more and more detail. So once the sculpt is complete, I use some isopropyl alcohol and a paintbrush to paint over the entire sculpt. This gives it a very smooth finish, really refines it down very smooth, removes all clay particle dust, fingerprints, and other marks from the rake tool and the other sculpting tools. It's a great final touch before baking. Now, as far as all this hair goes that I've sculpted on the figure, this was all unnecessary. I just did it for the experience and to just to see what it would look like and ensure that I had the right likeness. But since I'm going to be mounting a helmet on the head, I need to go back and go ahead and remove that excess head clay and hair clay. So I'm taking a knife and carving all that off of there. Once I get it relatively flattened off to mate with the helmet, then I'll bake it in the oven for about 45 minutes at 275 degrees. So now that that's done, you can see it's nice and hard, ready for paint. So with that done, I'm ready to go ahead and start on the helmet. To sculpt the helmet, I start with just a ball of clay and get the basic rough shape of the steel pot and start smoothing it out and turning up the lip around the edges, constantly checking the measurements against my printouts. With that done, I can go ahead and start adding the small details and textures and just refining that helmet down to all the final details and get it completed. Once I have all of the texturing and the details done on the helmet and it's ready to bake, I go ahead and put it in the oven at 275 degrees again. Typically we go for 15 minutes for every 1/4 inch thickness of clay with the super sculpty polymer clay. With the thickness of this helmet, I went ahead and did this for a full hour to make sure it was baked all the way through. And with that done, it comes out nice and hard and ready to paint. So once that's done, I need to hollow out the helmet a little bit for the head. So I take a Dremel tool and grind out the inside of the helmet. Once that is completed, I'm ready to go ahead and test fit it on the head. And once I'm satisfied with the fit to the head, it's pretty much ready for paint. I won't paint it at this time. It's much easier to paint the helmet and get up underneath the helmet, around the eyes and the ears and the inside of the helmet with the pieces disassembled. So I'll go ahead and finish the complete sculpture, and then I'll paint everything and then assemble all the pieces together. So that's pretty much it. It's done and ready to go. Okay, so there you go. I've got the sculpture of Bob's head done now in 1/6 scale. So in the following videos, we'll be sculpting the body and the gear and then doing the painting. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I encourage you to come back and visit me again. I have a Facebook page, The Scale Nerd on Facebook. Share a lot of my projects there, as well as my YouTube channel, where I have a lot of videos on my how-tos and time-lapse videos of different projects that I've done, from dioramas to sculptures to figurines and the like. So again, thanks for coming and watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and come back and see me again soon.